All right, here we go. Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Marty Kotler. Thank you for attending this webinar on how to scrub EOPs and appeal denials. Just a little disclaimer. The information in this webinar is for educational purposes. It's not intended to be a substitute for your thorough clinical decision making. It's not intended to substitute your billing protocols. It's not intended to be legal advice. We don't provide legal advice. Target coding does not provide legal services. Every attempt has been made to make certain that the information in this presentation is 100% accurate. However, it's not guaranteed. Let me tell you a little bit about myself before we get started. For those of you that have no idea who I am, again, my name is Dr. Marty Kotler. I am a chiropractor and I practiced for 16 years prior to starting my company, Target Coding. I am a certified professional compliance officer, certified billing and coding specialist, and my company has been helping thousands of chiropractors and their staff members for over 14 years. Now, I consider myself kind of unique because most chiropractors are not certified coders. Most certified coders are not chiropractors, right? So you'll see during this webinar how I combine the two specialties to make sure you're doing things properly, you're complying with all state and federal laws and rules, and you're maximizing reimbursement. You're getting paid what you deserve. So scrubbing EOBs and appealing denials, let's start off with the most popular one that you'll see is the services rendered were not medically necessary. I'm sure you've seen this if you've been around for a while, but there are many reasons why services could be not medically necessary. So when you see this come back on an EOB, you need to dig further. This is too much of a vague denial. You need to drill down a little deeper and find out what specifically about the claim or the notes that I sent you were not medically necessary. It's not just enough, oh, not medically necessary. It's like being pulled over by a police officer and they say, well, you were speeding and I'm going to give you a speeding ticket. And you say, well, how fast was I going? And the police officer says, I'm not telling you. I don't have to tell you. Here's a ticket and bye-bye. You know, that's not the way it's supposed to go. So there's many reasons. The services were not medically necessary because there's modifiers missing, or you sent in the notes and the notes are not legible. There's no signature. The notes appear verbatim. Every single note looks exactly the same. Your procedures have been proven to be not effective. The notes appear as though the care is maintenance. The time component is missing. There's not enough functional improvement. Functional limitations have been met, and on and on. There's all these different reasons. So what I'd like to share with you right now is what's the difference between medically necessary care and wellness care. So medically necessary care, you know, if a patient called their insurance company and said, hi, I'm going to be going to a chiropractor. I'm curious, does my health plan cover chiropractic? You know what the patient is going to hear? Yes. Because of the Affordable Care Act, whether you like it or not, every insurance plan in the country is mandated to include chiropractic coverage. So when a patient calls their plan, they're going to hear, yes, you are covered. And they're also going to hear, as long as it's medically necessary. Or they may hear, the patient, you know, may hear, well, you're covered for 30 visits as long as it's medically necessary. So what happens? The patient comes in and says, yes, I'm covered for 30 visits. The patient doesn't know what's the difference between medically necessary and not medically necessary. You know what? Some staff members don't know. Some doctors don't know how to explain it. So if a patient calls and they say, hi, I want to know, does my insurance cover chiropractic? They're going to hear yes, as long as it's medically necessary. So right there on your screen, I've taken the leap. Medically necessary equals insurance payable. According to Medicare, active treatment is medically necessary. To keep it very simple, we recommend and we teach, tell your patients, Mrs. Jones, your insurance covers your care as long as it's medically necessary. What does that mean? You have restricted motion. You can't do your normal activities of daily living. You have pain. That's insurance payable. Now, what is medical necessity according to the experts? Well, it depends what expert you ask. I just gave you my definition. Well, here's Medicare's definition. It's a service treatment that is needed to identify a problem, an illness, or an injury. It's consistent with the symptoms and diagnosis. It's appropriate under the standards of care. It's not solely for the convenience of the patient or the doctor. It's the most appropriate service needed, which can be safely rendered to the patient and accomplishes the desired end result in the most economical manner. Blue Cross Blue Shield says chiropractic is covered, but you have to have a written treatment plan in order for it to be medically necessary. Aetna, they have their definition of what medically necessary is for chiropractic. Here's Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois giving their definition of what medically necessary is versus maintenance care. Now, what about wellness care? Wellness care is not covered by insurance. At least most of them don't. I see a few now covering. That's nice. I see a very few plans covering chiropractic maintenance care, but I would say 99% don't. So what's wellness care? Mr. Jones, you feeling great? Yeah. You're back at the gym? Yeah. You have full range of motion? Yeah. You're doing all your normal activities? Yeah. I get up, I go to work, I do all my activities, I'm playing tennis, I'm back at the gym. Well, that's wellness care. That's not covered by insurance. Not medically necessary means not insurance payable. At maximum therapeutic benefit, try and transition the patient to wellness care. Now, wellness care is different than medically necessary care, and the language too, you should be careful. So when you tell a patient, well, your insurance doesn't cover your care anymore because right now your care is not medically necessary, the patient might be thinking, well, so the care is not medically necessary. Why should I still keep coming in? So this is part of educating the patient, letting them know that chiropractic necessity or clinical necessity is different than medical necessity. What is maintenance care? Again, it depends who you ask. According to Medicare, maintenance is not covered because that includes services that seek to prevent disease, promote health, prevent deterioration. Just don't get caught in the middle. If I came to your office, I could categorize every single man, woman, and child that's in your office into one of two categories. Category one, active care. I just went through that. Active care, medically necessary care. What's the deal with that? Insurance pays for that, or the patient pays cash. Or the patient is maintenance wellness. Insurance doesn't pay. Patient has to pay cash. Don't get caught in the middle. What do I mean by that? You're billing insurance, but the care is really maintenance. I'll show you examples of why that can cause havoc in an office. All right, let's go to the next one. Benefits are denied. This is a sample EOB that comes back. Remember, we're scrubbing EOBs and trying to fight back. Number two, benefits are denied. I think I have about 10 or 15 of these. Benefits are denied because the patient has reached maximum medical improvement. Oh, really? The patient has reached maximum improvement? Some offices contact us and go, Dr. Kotler, we sent in the first claim. We sent in the first visit, and they're saying that's it. The patient has reached maximum benefit. What? You need good fight back letters. So we have a whole bunch of fight back letters. This is a good one when the insurance company doesn't want to pay for the manual therapy on the same day as an adjustment. Here's another one. The service is denied because it was incidental to the major service rendered. And do a re-exam and an adjustment on the same day. And they bundle the exam or your re-exam with the adjustment. Is that fair? Is that right? Did you use the right modifier? You did everything perfect. You did everything textbook. You submitted the claim, everything's perfect, your notes are perfect, and it still comes back denied. You need good fight back letters. You can have the greatest software in the world. This is a great fight back letter that talks about how to get paid for the adjustment and a re-exam on the same day if they bundle the re-exam. The other thing is be careful with timed codes. Time-based codes like manual therapy, I mentioned 97140 has to be done for at least 8 minutes. So these forms that I'm referring to are in my forms manual. I have a forms, logs, templates, over 100 forms. Number 4, payment will be considered upon review of the chart notes. Okay, what's going on here? You submit a claim, it comes back. We're not paying until we see the notes. Oh boy. So this could be the sign of a prepayment audit, which can cause chaos. I have a client right now, just got put on a prepayment audit, not from Empire Blue Cross Blue Shield. This is a doctor They said, we looked at your notes and there's a lot of problems. There's no signatures. There's no plan of care. The testing did not change the plan of care. Some members' treatment indicates years of treatment without improvement. So they put this doctor on a prepayment audit. This isn't, yeah, this one just came in. A doctor got a letter from the Special Investigation Unit. They looked at 148 visits. All 148 denied, 100% error rate. Actually, this doctor got lucky. They could have asked the money back for all 148 visits. They didn't. They said all 148 visits are not good, 100% error rate. However, we're not going to ask for the money back. We're putting you on a prepayment audit, which means we need to see your notes before we decide if we're going to pay you. It causes chaos. It causes havoc. It might sound like, hey, what's the big deal? Well, all right. So the biggest inconvenience, we'll send in our notes with the bills. Sometimes they pay, sometimes they don't pay. They keep denying, they don't deny. They take the money out. It causes chaos. Yeah, bad documentation causes chaos. This is a prepayment for a doctor in California. Let's go to the next one. Number 5, the service is denied because it is included in the contractual obligation and the patient may not be billed for the service. Whoa, time out. I'm out of network. What do you mean I can't bill the patient? See that happening more and more. Insurance companies are trying to get patients to go in network. They even send them these little charts. Look, Mrs. Jones, if you go to a participating provider and the bill is 150, you only have to pay 20. If you go to an out-of-network provider or a non-par provider for the same 150 charge, you're going to have to pay 114. See how they try and get patients to go to in-network doctors. And I'm not going to get into too much detail, but do an evaluation. Does it make sense to stay in network? Now, I'm not telling you to stay in network. I'm not telling you to drop out of networks. That's a business decision. There's pros and cons to being in, pros and cons to being out. Business decision that you need to make. Here are some of the things you might want to look at. Now, we do have a little program we've just created. It doesn't take that long to go through. And it talks about how to transition your insurance patients to cash patients. Let us know if you're interested in learning more about that. Number 6, benefits are denied because the diagnosis is inconsistent with the procedure. So something was wrong with your diagnosis. Your diagnosis didn't make sense. Your diagnosis maybe was deleted. Your diagnosis is not pairing with your CPT code. Remember that we have 2 codes. We have CPT codes and we have diagnosis codes. We have procedure codes, which are CPT, and we have ICD-10 codes, which are diagnosis codes, and they have to pair, they have to match. And I call it understanding the what and the why. CPT codes are what you're doing, diagnosis codes are why you're doing them, and they have to pair. I look at like wine and food, just like food and wine pairing, or, peanut butter alone is great, chocolate alone is great, together it's fantastic. So pairing, here's an example. What are you doing? You're doing mechanical traction? Okay. Why? What ICD-10 code pairs with mechanical traction? I'll show you in a few minutes. You're doing cervical myofascial, well, the diagnosis is myofascial pain syndrome in the cervical region. That's M7912. What CPT code pairs with that? You're doing a chiropractic adjustment like 98941. What diagnosis codes pair with your adjustments? I'll show you in a few minutes. Now you can go the opposite way. If you diagnose a patient with a subluxation M9901, what CPT codes match with that? So if you're interested in learning more about this, I wrote a book on this, which shows you how to pair your codes in chapter 1. Let us know if you're interested in it. Number 7. Benefits are denied because the diagnosis is not substantiated in the patient records. So let's say you use radiculopathy as a diagnosis. Your documentation must show the patient stated that there's pain in the neck and there's either pain, numbness, tingling, radiating into an arm or an upper extremity. So hopefully by now you could tell how I've combined my 16 years of being in the trenches, being a chiropractor, treating patients, doing things wrong, messing up, getting denied for a lot of things. And now, over the last 12 years, as an expert and compliance consultant in the field of billing and coding and documentation, Medicare and HIPAA, I'm combining the two. So if you're going to diagnose a patient with cervical radiculopathy, your notes must say the patient has pain in the neck and there's pain, numbness, tingling, weakness into an extremity. Do Jackson compression, do foraminal compression, do something to substantiate it, check reflexes. Cervical radiculopathy is what we consider a long-term treatment diagnosis. So make sure you can substantiate it or else it's going to get denied. Same thing with sacroiliac sprain. Do Yeoman's, do Gainsland's. You need to do certain tests to justify your diagnosis codes. Every diagnosis code you come up with needs to be justified. Now, what are we talking about? Maybe a malpractice case? If you diagnose a patient with some sort of sacroiliac joint problem, and the patient says the doctor fractured my pelvis with the adjustment or some sort of treatment, if you didn't do Yeoman's or Gainsland's, then your diagnosis doesn't make sense. And that could be used against you in a court of law. Sciatica, I was working with a doctor recently. He diagnosed the patient with sciatica, and the whole claim got denied by a managed care organization. Why? I looked at his exam. He didn't do straight leg raise. He didn't do any orthopedic. How do you diagnose sciatica without doing straight leg raise or Bechter or Braggart's or some, Valsalva something? Yeah, and there's my chiropractic experience helping you out with the billing and coding, piriformis syndrome, carpal tunnel syndrome. Again, this is chapter 3 of my book where it shows you how to justify your diagnosis codes. You also get a whole bunch of cheat sheets that show you the codes that pay for the most visits. All right, number 8. The procedure is being denied because it is not typically performed on the same date of service as the other billed procedure. You may have seen this one. This is typically due to the CCI edits, the Correct Coding Initiative edits. These edits say that a chiropractic adjustment cannot be done in the same region as 140, 124, and 112. But if you do it in a separate anatomic site, that's fine. Then use the 5-9 modifier, which leads us to number 9, missing or invalid modifier. You may be seeing a lot of this with United Healthcare recently. Many months ago, United Healthcare said, we are going to require you use the GP modifier on your therapy codes. They were not too strict about it, still paying claims without it. Well, that's over. Recently, just last month, they enforced this rule. So you may be getting denials from United Healthcare out of the clear blue sky, and you're wondering why. Well, now you know. It's good you came to this webinar and watched this because it's a simple fix. Add the GP modifier. Here are some of the most common modifiers. 5-9 might be replaced with XS coming up soon. Maybe you need to use the 97 modifier coming up instead of the 59 or the XS. So we go over all of these. There's actually a free video on our YouTube channel on modifiers. So 59 has become a big deal because so many doctors use it incorrectly. It's one of those rare modifiers that bypass the CCI edits. So a lot of people use it incorrectly. That's why the XS modifier for some plans is now replacing the 5-9. Next, number 10. The charges were applied to the deductible and therefore payment cannot be made. Staff members listening to this, you may have called an insurance company and they said, there's no deductible or the deductible has been met. Then you submit the claim and it goes towards the deductible, right? A lot of you are shaking your head, go, yeah, we deal with that all the time. So what's the deal with deductibles and co-pays and co-insurance? You must collect them. Now, there are situations where you can waive them. We can go over that a little bit later. Sometimes the patients can't afford it. Sometimes the patients forget to bring in their copay. There are certain instances where you could waive it, but in general, it's not okay. You can't routinely waive copays and deductibles. For example, all the teachers that come in, we feel bad for them. They don't make that much money. We're not going to have them pay anything. Or, next to my office, there's this huge office building with like 200 people in this building. They all work for, Bank of America. this plan, wow, this insurance is great. All these employees have fantastic insurance. It pays 80% of everything with no deductible. You know what? I'm going to contact all these employees and say, come on in. You work for Bank of America? Come on in. You have good insurance, right? You don't have to pay anything. You see, that's inappropriate. That's what happened right here with this doctor. Cigna wants $300,000 back because he did not collect copays, deductibles, coinsurance, great insurance. I forgot what company these people worked for, but they had Cigna, fantastic insurance, pays for everything. So he would tell these patients, don't pay anything. Then he gets a letter from Cigna. It says, dear doctor, or dear billing department, look at the third bullet down. We want to see copies of the patient billing and collection letters. We want documents that show when bills were sent to the patient, how much they paid, if anything. So you should have a billing and coding policy manual. Office managers listening to this, create a billing and coding policy and procedure manual. It's not that difficult. I know you're busy. I know you don't want to bother the doctor. Billing managers or compliance officers, make it a priority to put together a billing and coding policy and procedure manual. It'll protect the office. It'll protect you, the staff members. So what do you put in there? What's your policy on discounts? Do you offer discounts? For example, your normal fee is $100 and you have a special going on all the time where come on in, exam, x-rays, and an adjustment. All of that is $100, but if you're a PI patient, that's $500, So what's your deal on discounts? Do you own another facility? If not, don't worry about Stark. If you do, put that policy in your manual. What about anti-kickback? You have lawyers referring you patients and they get paid per patient. What's your policy on that? What about free exams? We don't recommend giving away anything for free. That's what we say from a 30,000-foot view. Do not give away any free services, but sometimes you want to run a special, sometimes you want to do things. It's okay once in a while, but you need to know what you're doing in order to give away free services. This doctor got in big trouble. He was giving away free stim to his Medicare patients. Free electrical stim only to the Medicare patients. He had to pay an $80,000 fine. Now remember, I like to bring this up whenever I talk about Medicare. Doctor, staff members, do not put all your Medicare patients into one bucket. Do not assume all Medicare patients have Part B. A lot of them do. Most patients, when they turn 65, they get Part B, which covers doctor's visits. Part A, they also get Part A. So Part A and Part B you get automatically when you turn 65. Part A, hospitals visits, covers hospital care. Part B, doctors, that's you. Part B, Medicare covers chiropractic under the Part B program only for spinal manipulation. But wait, you're going to have some patients that opt out of Part B, and they come in with what is known as a Medicare Advantage plan. You see, here's a United Healthcare Medicare Advantage plan. This is Part C. This can cover exams, x-rays, therapies. I have some doctors getting paid for orthotics and diagnostic testing with Advantage plans, not necessarily the United Healthcare plan, because some plans will mimic Medicare in Part C, and some pay for everything. But just a quick quiz here with Medicare, because this is done wrong so much. This is a rampant disease in our profession where chiropractors think they can treat Medicare patients without being enrolled in the Medicare program. You cannot treat Medicare. Well, let me go through this. Can you treat Medicare Part B patients without submitting claims to Medicare? Absolutely no. Can you treat Medicare Part B patients without being enrolled in the Medicare program? Absolutely not. Can chiropractors opt out of Medicare Part B? No. Can you collect cash from Medicare Part B patients without billing Medicare? Maybe, if they check option 2 on the ABN form. So just a quick reminder, chiropractors cannot opt out. If you see a Medicare patient, you have Medicare Part B, you must submit the claims, you must be enrolled. Now, usually when I bring this up at my live seminars, I look at the body language and everybody's faces. 80% of the audience go, what? We never heard that before. Nobody's ever told. I know. Many times when people come to my seminars and webinars, they go, wow, nobody ever told me that. I've never heard. Yes, I know. We're used to it. So that's why when we get people looking at us like we have three heads, go to the Medicare Benefit Policy Manual, Chapter 15, Section 40.4, and you could read more about that. You cannot use an ABN form. If you're not in the Medicare program, you're not allowed to use the ABN form. What did you say, Dr. Kotler? I can't use the ABN form? No, unless you're enrolled, you're not, that's property of Medicare. You can't use the form. By the way, there's a new ABN form. We're not getting into that today, but be aware there's a new ABN form. But if, again, if you're like, what? I never heard that before. Go to the Medicare Claims Processing Manual, Chapter 30, Section 50.3. Next, number 11, the charges were denied because they were previously considered. You need to train your staff members to be 10th degree black belts in insurance collections. This is about staff training. Number 12, payment for the services were included in the procedure. What? What do you mean included in the procedure? I'm out of network. I can charge whatever I want. Oh, wait, I am in network. I can't charge the what? So forms, acknowledgement forms, financial forms. You could have the best software in the world. They don't come with financial forms, policies, procedure forms, HIPAA forms. You need good forms. Number 13, missing qualifiers in 14, 15, and 17. Yes, 14 is the date of current illness. So for example, 10/15, and then 4/31 is the qualifier. In 15, you typically don't have to build, you don't typically need to complete box 15, but if you're having a problem, you probably need to use the 454 qualifier. Box 17, if you're getting denied because they need the referring doctor, either put your name if there's, we get calls like this, Dr. Kotler, we got denied, we called the insurance company, they said they need the name of the referring provider in 17 and the referring provider's NPI number in 17B, but this patient was a referral from a friend or from the from Facebook, or they were a walk-in. There is no doctor referring. What do we do? What should you do? Need a name in there. What should you do? Put your own name in there and your NPI number. It works like a charm. We know a thing or two because we've seen a thing or two. I've stolen that from the Farmers Insurance commercial. Number 14, incorrect diagnosis codes. Box 21, this form has been around 6 years already, but yet just about every month we get a doctor or a staff member saying, there's only room for 4 codes in box 21. We don't know what to do. When I hear that from a person, then I typically think that person has been living under a rock for the past 6 years, doesn't go to seminars, doesn't go to webinars, or maybe goes and sits in the back and watches a movie or falls asleep. Box 21 has room for up to 12 diagnosis codes. If you're having a problem with an insurance company because of diagnosis pointing, here's a sample. It shows the adjustment just on the lower back. The manual therapy is just on the neck. The stim is just on the thoracic, and the exercises are on the neck. So we have them for Medicare, we have them for regular insurance, we have a whole bunch of these sample 1500 forms. This is Medicare with a supplement insurance like AARP. Here's a PI example. All right, next, number 15. Incorrect NPI number? Yeah, we see this. The doctor has a group NPI, an individual NPI. Where do those go? It's confusing. It's getting denied. That's another thing. We get frustrated here at Target Coding because we train doctors and staff members how to fill out the 1500 form. There are 33 boxes. We go through all 33 boxes in extreme detail. Doctor, staff sends the claim, comes back denied. And they think it's a problem with the diagnosis code or the CPG code. No, the MPI numbers were wrong. The group ID number was wrong. the tax ID number was wrong. So, or you have an associate doctor's NPI number on there that's not registered with the insurance company. That's where it gets a little confusing. The owner of the practice hires an associate. So the owner doc is out of network, the new associate doctor is in network, or vice versa. The owner of the practice is in network, hires an associate that's out of network, but the claims won't get paid if it's an out of network claim. So the claims are going in as if the owner did the adjustment, but the owner was in the Bahamas fishing. So be careful with the owner doc and the associate doc. You know, there's all these different scenarios. The owner doc's out of network. The owner doc hires an in-network associate. Out of network pays better. Who's treating the patient? Whose NPI number is in 24J? Whose name is in 31? Whose tax ID number is in 25? Should it be the associate doctor's tax ID or social security number because maybe they're an independent contractor? Or case number two, the owner doc is in network, hires an associate doctor that's out of network. Out of network pays better. The associate doctor's treating the patient. Wait a second. What does the in-network contract state? This is where it can get confusing. So prevention is the key. How do we help prevent doctors from getting in trouble and maximizing reimbursement and getting paid maximally? We use guidelines. There's a lot of guidelines out there. A lot of people called me the guidelines guy. That's fine. I'll take that as a compliment. As I study these guidelines, because this is what's going to help you get paid. This is going to help you make a lot of money. This is going to help you have a compliance staff. Staff want to work in a trustworthy atmosphere. They want to be in an area where you're building a culture of compliance. So it's based on these guidelines: AMA, ICD-10, E&M, Medicare, OSHA, HIPAA. Little bit about HIPAA. One of the most important things is protect yourself from your business associates. Business associates is any person or organization that has access to your patient data that's not an employee. Like who? Billing company. Let's say you have a CA that's an independent contractor that's doing your billing from home. Okay. You have a software company. You're using a software company, let's say a cloud-based software company. They have access to your patient data. These are business associates, and you should be getting a business associate agreement. How about your IT guy, you know, your patient, your friend, your neighbor, or relative? This is the person that comes and sets up your Wi-Fi network, gets all your computers talking to each other. That person has access to your data. That person should be signing a business associate agreement. You know, we get these questions all the time. Who should sign a BAA? Your cleaning service? Attorneys asking for notes? So if you want to get going on a HIPAA program, and HIPAA is mandatory, there's no beating around the bush. Whoever's listening to this, you must have a formal HIPAA billing and coding compliance, a HIPAA compliance manual with policies and procedure. HIPAA is not billing and coding. If you don't have one, start here. Office managers listening to this, go to this website and start putting together a HIPAA manual. Again, prevention's the key. So compliance officers, office managers, when it comes to HIPAA, policies and procedures, start with a security risk analysis. Find out who your business associates are and get those BAA signed. I have a doctor right now, he's in a panic. He has this outside billing company that's been working with him. He doesn't have a BAA signed with this billing company. The owner of this billing company, out of the clear blue sky, is saying, you are billing incorrectly, and we're going to be contacting the insurance companies and reporting you for fraud. What? You're my billing company. Why would you do that to me? What are you talking about? So make sure you update your BAAs. When it comes to billing and coding, office managers create billing and coding policies and procedures. Like on what? On training, on doing internal reviews, on going to the Medicare exclusions list if you see Medicare patients. What's your policy? I mentioned it. What's your policy on copays, deductibles, coinsurance, free exams? Do you adjust full spine, but you only bill 98940? All right, just a few closing comments. Please check with all the carriers you bill prior to submitting claims based on this information to ensure that it is compliant. Can't guarantee that this information will guarantee payment from any patient or insurance company. And you know the laws and rules change all the time. We're going to be doing a webinar very soon on all the changes for 2021. There are so many changes coming up for 2021. I'll give you a little example. New fees, new E&M codes. Codes have been deleted. Codes have been added. If you are a PT practice, there's modifiers for your PTAs at 85%. It's a lot of changes coming up for 2021. So make sure you stay in touch with us, stay in touch with your national and state, join your national and state professional associations, keep attending seminars and webinars. Here's our contact information. Email us, info@targetcoding.com. Maybe you have questions about what you heard today. Set up a free consultation. We offer free 15-minute consultations. Email us, let us know if you want to pick our brain about anything you heard today or anything to do with chiropractic billing, coding, documentation, Medicare, HIPAA. We're not a practice management company. We're not going to teach you how to get new patients. We're not going to teach your CAs how to ask for referrals. We don't do that. We don't want to do that. We don't have any interest in showing you how to get new patients. We want to make sure you're getting paid by your patients properly if you offer cash plans, and you're getting paid properly by insurance, Medicare, HIPAA. All right, we're going to go to questions and answers now. Wait, before we go to questions and answers, let me tell you a little bit about what we do, because some people think all we do is webinars. No, we do more than webinars. We have something called our compliance program, our chiropractic compliance program, HIPAA, billing and coding, and OSHA. We do all the heavy lifting. I love Toyotas and Hondas. Terrific cars, Toyotas and Hondas. We don't sell Toyotas and Hondas. We sell Lamborghinis, Ferraris, Rolls-Royce. Our compliance program costs more than others, but you get what you pay for. We do more. Shop around. Let us know if you're interested. You want referrals? We have tons of testimonials. Dr. Toke, getting compliant is not something you look forward to. However, Target Coding made it easy. Dr. Weinberg, they've been a game changer, always available to answer your questions. We love Target Coding, and Dr. Kotler, thank you. Natasha, thank you. Natasha runs our HIPAA department. So get a billing, and you are required. If you see Medicare patients, you're required to have a billing and coding policy and procedure manual. Most of you don't have one. Most of you have never heard it. Office managers, talk to the doctor. Office managers, billing CAs, if you're listening to this without the doctor, go up to the doctor and say, hey, we need a billing and coding policy and procedure manual. You see Medicare patients, we'll put together an OIG compliance manual for you. We do these things. We're experts at it. We've been doing it for so many years. I don't think there's too many companies that do it better than us. I know I'm tooting my own horn, but I need to. CA boot camp. Yeah, we offer a CA boot camp, and we're having an advanced CA boot camp coming up in November. We've thought of every single possible job description a CA could have, and we've put it into our CA boot camp. It's been hugely successful. Front desk and patient relations, billing and collections. Many doctors have their CAs helping with the therapies in the back, and some offices have the CAs doing the notes. That's module 3. I teach that one. The other 3, Brandy, Harlan, Natasha, we have other experts teaching that. Do you know we do billing? Most offices don't know we do billing. Target Coding does billing. We charge 7%. If you want to outsource your billing to us, set up a consultation. If you're tired of your present billing company, they're not doing a great job, maybe you want to switch to us. Did you know we do credentialing? Yes, we do credentialing. You need a PTAN number, CAQH, NPI. Let's say you have a busy practice and you're bringing on a new chiropractor as an associate, and you want this chiropractor to see Medicare patients. Time out, you need to do a reassignment of benefits. We can do that for you. Revalidation, we can do that. Reattestation, we do this. The book I mentioned. Oh, so let me show you the answers. If you're doing mechanical traction, here are the codes that pair radiculopathy and disc degeneration. You're doing myofascial release, 97140. There's a couple of codes that it pairs with. M7912, I love that diagnosis. It's myofascial pain syndrome of the muscles in the neck. And what am I going to do? I'm going to do deep soft tissue myofascial release. That is a beautiful pairing. Get your best bottle of wine and your best steak, put those together right there. So yeah, you've heard of a sommelier. I'm a coding sommelier. Therapeutic exercises pairs amazingly well with neck pain and shoulder stiffness and adjustment. Let me give you an example of what doesn't pair properly. You're going to bill 98940. That's a spinal adjustment. And you pair that with M9906. You see that on your screen? That's a knee subluxation. Denied. So the book has all these different things, 3 chapters. Forms, I mentioned the forms. We have tons of forms. Again, you could have the best software in the world. You need fight back letters. You need HIPAA forms, ABN forms. We have a whole bunch of sample SOAP notes, exams and treatment plan forms, financial hardship forms, health savings account statements, consent to treat minor. What happens if the checks are going to the patient? How do you prevent that? We have a great form on that. A lawyer asks for your records. Can you charge for that? A deposition, you need to do a deposition. How much do you charge for that? What about a lien, a letter of protection, general office policy? You need a letter of medical necessity for a back brace, a TENS machine, a stand-up desk. We got them all. All the telehealth forms are included now. What else? Need help with ASH? We do a one-on-one training. We also have a video on it. We offer memberships. So yeah, we offer a lot of things. Once the pandemic, slows down a little bit here, we'll start doing our live seminars again. Right now, our live seminars have been put on hold. So I want to thank everybody for attending again. Here's our contact information. Let's go ahead and take a look and see what questions have come in.